Hello there and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be getting ready together and I'm super excited because this video is in partnership with e.l.f. Cosmetics and Magic Links. They so generously gifted me the ability to do a little bit of shopping and add to my ever-growing collection of e.l.f. Cosmetics. So I'm going to be doing a full face, except for one product, using all e.l.f. Cosmetics, and that other product is Drugstore. So we're doing a full face of affordable makeup, and I'm thinking something kind of summery. That's kind of the vibe that I'm going for. So if you are new here, be sure you hit that subscribe button, and now let's get started. Okay, we're gonna start off with something on my lips, and I'm going to go back to my Ride or Die lip balm. I just have this in one color, which is Tough Cookie. I like to keep this in my drawer. It's a nice kind of thick balm. Smells a little bit sweet, and yeah, my lips really enjoy the moisturization from that. All right, now we're gonna go to eye primer, and I purchased a new putty eye primer, and I've had this before. I like the shade Cream, and my previous one dried out, so you do need to be sure you put the lid on very tightly. This is similar. It's kind of the same concept as the MAC Soft Ochre Paint Pot, but this is not quite as creamy. I know a lot of reviewers say it's rather dry, and it is, but the secret is you just go in with very small amount in thin layers, and then don't try and drag it back and forth across your eyelid. Now, as I was pulling out all of my e.l.f. products and adding them to the new ones that I purchased, I was looking at all of my bite-sized eyeshadow palettes and then my matte eyeshadow palette, trying to decide what kind of look, which one I should use. And I think I'm gonna start off with the Mad for Matte. This is Summer Breeze, so I thought that was an appropriate name, right, for kind of a summery look that we're doing. So I'm gonna start off with this Real Techniques Expert Concealer Brush, just kind of fluffy. We're gonna start with this creamy matte shade here. This whole palette is matte, so that makes it easy. So I think we'll use a couple shades from this palette and then a couple from one of the bite-sized palettes. You know, just mix it up a little bit here today. Now, I did bring that shadow all the way down kind of to the top of the crease because that putty primer can be a little difficult to blend colors on top of directly. So in the crease especially, I like to bring a powdered shadow down a little bit, and I think that helps. All right, now I'm going to take a Morphe M504 and go in with the warm pink shade. Who could have predicted that, right? Sharalee and warm pink. I'm going to fluff this through the crease. So these shadows, I do tap off my brush, but you can see they don't really kick up much product in the pan. So they're smooth and pigmented, but they are buildable. So you can see there just 2 layers with a fluffy brush. That's quite a bit of color. Just a little bit more there through the crease. And now I'm going to go down to a smaller, denser brush. This is Morphe M433, more of that same shade. We're gonna keep this, I think, pretty simple today. I always say that, and you all end up giving me a hard time at the end. You're like, Sharalee, I thought you said this was simple, right? I'm gonna go in with one of the eyeshadow sticks. So I have 3 of them now, and so I have Perfect Pearl, Rich Amethyst, and what is this, Rose Gold. So I'll put up some swatches of those 3. I think today though, I'm gonna start off with Perfect Pearl, and these are similar, they're the same concept as a Laura Mercier Caviar Stick. However, they are not as creamy. And so I find these work best like I'm going to use them today. Just kind of set them and kind of pat them in with your finger and be done with it. I don't find these quite as workable as the Laura Mercier ones. However, they are so, once they set, they do not budge. So I love to use them either on their own like this over the lid or as a base for shadow, which is what I will be doing. All right, I think I'm going to go over the top of it first. I say first because I'm going to combine 2 shades. I'm going to start off with this kind of champagne shimmer shade from the Cream and Sugar bite-sized palette here. And this is a really pretty shade and quite pigmented all on its own. but over the top of that shadow stick, I mean, it's like instant metallic payoff. So I'm gonna go into Berry Bad and we're going to use this shade right here. So this has kind of some, it's a mid-tone, kind of a little darker pink, is a little more of a metallic-y, shimmery shade. So I'm just going to lightly tap a little bit of that over the top of that shimmer shade. And we have kind of our own kind of pale, pinky, kind of rosy shade there on the lid. Love it. And then I'll go back and just add a touch more from the Cream and Sugar palette. All right, now the one product that I don't have from e.l.f. and I don't really, it's the one product I feel like they need to kind of do a little better job at, and that's eyeliner. So I'm gonna just stick with shadow, but first I'm going to use a little more of that putty primer under the lower lash line. So this is a trick, even if you have a good eyeliner and you have a hard time with your liner staying put through the day, you can put a little bit of eyeshadow primer on first. I think on the lower lash line, I'm gonna go back to the Berry Bad palette and we'll start up here. I'm using one of my favorite brushes. I actually picked up a second one. This is the Precision Smudge Brush. I've had this one in particular for a couple of years since it first came out. It's just really nice and soft. So I'm just going to use a little bit of that matte shade here under my lower lashes. And then let's just have a little fun. Let's add a little bit of that shimmer shade from the upper lid there. Just kind of right there in the center. Okay, now we're gonna address the upper lash line, and I'm just gonna add a little bit of smokiness at the upper lash line on the kind of outer corner. So I'm gonna start off with the black from the Truffles palette. You could use the one from this Mad for Mattes palette, but this black is a little more of an off black, so not quite as dark as this one. So I'm actually going to mix this with a little bit of that berry shade on the lower lash line as well, but I just want a little extra intensity right here along the lash line first. All right, and then let's go ahead and add a little bit of this matte shade from the Berry Bad palette. And I'm going to use this kind of right on the top part. So a little tip, if you're using black in combination with kind of a champagne shade, you may notice many times it can almost, where those two colors meet, can almost start looking a little green. So one way to fix that is to add just a little bit of dark brown, or like what I'm doing here and using more of a berry brown color. Take a little bit of that right here towards the inner corner. All right, let's go back to our crease brush. No additional product at the moment. I think I am going to mix a tiny bit of the pink from here and that burgundy from here, just a little bit here, just to kind of marry those outer corner shades just a little bit more with the crease color. And I should mention, if you hear somebody snoring, it's not your husband, it's my dog. Several of you have noticed in recent videos that there's been the sound of snoring and you're looking over at your husband thinking it's him and then realizing it might be my dog. It's my dog. Many times he likes to lay in here on this little fluffy rug while I'm doing videos. And as he's gotten older, his snoring has gotten louder. All right, so that is it for the eyes, except for inner corner, which we'll do at the end. So I'm just going to take a little bit of almond oil and clean up under the eyes, and then we will apply some foundation and concealer. For foundation, I have chosen to use my personal favorite foundation type product from e.l.f., and that is the Camo CC Cream. I've actually really enjoyed this. I know there's mixed opinions on it. Personally, I really love it. Now, I do still moisturize underneath it, so I don't feel like it's as moisturizing as like an IT Cosmetics CC Cream, but I get really decent coverage with this, good staying power. It has SPF 30 and it has collagen, peptides, and niacinamide. I picked up a summer shade in this, but I am currently sunless tanning, so I'm not quite there yet. So I'm gonna mix a little bit of my winter shade. So summer shade is 330W and winter shade is light 240W. Okay, I'm gonna just kind of roughly spread some of this on my face. This is a new e.l.f. brush that I've not actually used with it, so let's give it a try. This is the Ultimate Blending Brush. So very soft bristles, and they are synthetic, so really good for cream products. Now let's just see how this does, blending this in. So I think that did a pretty good job. That is one layer with the brush. Let's just go ahead now and show you. Look how big this sponge is. Now I do have it wet, but I used this for the first time yesterday. I was like, wow, it's really nice and soft and squishy. It does have a nice kind of flat edge that you can use to kind of clean up contour if you want. But I'm gonna take just a little tiny bit more product and take the damp sponge and just kind of press it in and just see if we can get kind of a real nice finish here on the skin. Okay, we definitely, I mean, you can see how much coverage I have because my dark circles are quite dark. All right, I picked up several different shades of the Camo Hydrating Concealer. I was trying to figure out if I could find a shade that would kind of be my color corrector and then one as my concealer. And then I also picked up one of the original 16-hour Camo Concealer. Now, I know for a fact this one is too drying under my eyes. So I do like, though, this one I think sets and stays, and I do kind of like it for, you know, dark spots on the face. We'll use a little bit of that, but the Hydrating Camo Concealer, I'm still working with it. As many of you know, I am on the hunt for my perfect concealer and also different techniques. So we'll try a new one today. I'm going to start off with light beige. Let's just see how this, yeah, I think that's pretty good. All right, I'm going to just apply. Now that looks like a lot, but it's not. I just kind of spread it out. I'm trying out a new technique. I'm gonna let that sit for a moment, and I'm gonna go in now with the regular 16-hour. Now, the one thing you need to be aware of, it is really hard to shop for colors online with e.l.f. With their concealers, I feel like they all look darker on the website than they really are in person. But also, like for the 16-hour one, they show you a picture of what it looks like wet and what it looks like dry. So if you're shopping in the store, look how light this is. And this is medium neutral. But when it dries, it does dry a little bit darker. So just keep that in mind. It's making things even more difficult. You know, we can't try on stuff in the store as it is, and then when pictures online don't appear as they are in real life, it makes it a little harder. So just trying to help you if you're trying to shop for colors online at home, be aware. Okay, I'm going to take a little bit of the Dewy Coconut Setting Mist. Now, I picked up a new bottle of this, but I wasn't aware. It's the same formula that they've had, I think, for a year, but they just repackaged it. So I do like the smell of this. It is hydrating. I'm gonna use just a little bit of this on my finger and then use that and my finger to start tapping in my concealer. That gave me pretty good coverage. I'm gonna put just a tiny little bit of it down the bridge of my nose. I will show you another product you can use for highlighting in a moment, but I'm gonna show you this cute, cool, interesting looking sponge. What is this called? The Camo Concealer Sponge. So again, this is wet, and so it does like double in size, very soft, and it does feel really nice. The point is about perfect to get kind of in the inner corner there. I'm just real lightly pouncing this because I feel like I did most of the blending with my finger. I don't want to remove too much coverage because again, a damp sponge is going to pick up product kind of like that. All right, just let that sit. And now the other product I was going to show you, maybe 6 months ago, maybe even last summer, e.l.f. came out with the Flawless Brightening Concealer. These really remind me a lot of the YSL Touche Éclat brightening pens. I'm gonna use just a little bit, and they are a click up with a brush tip. Now, I keep this one in my purse. I feel like it's a thinner consistency than a typical concealer. And so what I like this for is, you know, you're out and about and you're looking in the mirror and you're like, ooh, my under eyes are looking a little dark. You can really easily just kind of put a little bit in the inner corner, and because it's a thinner consistency, it doesn't usually make your current concealer or whatever you've got on your face look cakey. I also sometimes will use this like under my nose if I have to blow my nose, or you've been wearing a mask and you need to touch up. This is a great one just to throw in your purse. Real easy to use. And then, like I said, you can just tap it in. All right, now let's go to some more face color products. All right, I think I'll start off with this and then I'll put a powder blush over it. So my best friend actually gave me this putty blush, and this is the only color that I own, and it doesn't have the name on here, so I'll put it on the screen. I like to take the 522 Luxe Tapered highlighter brush. This is my favorite for all cream blushes. But I feel like with this blush, as long as I tap it in, I don't feel like it disturbs my makeup at all. At least this color, I feel like I can get buildable color. Because I have a little more, you know, of a tan going on, I will probably intensify my blush after I powder, but I just wanted to show this one to you. I think it's really nice. It does take maybe a little more layering than some of my other kind of cream blushes, but I think it's really pretty. All right, let's add some powder. So I have a couple. I've used this one for years. This is the HD Loose Setting Powder, and I used to use this all the time under my eyes to set my concealer. Then I kind of got away from that. I felt like I was looking a little too dry, and then this powder became very popular. This is the Sheer Tint Finishing Powder, but I just pulled this back out because the light medium shade is quite dark. This one I feel like does work better for those of you who are drier skin type, because this one doesn't keep me nearly as matte, but it is a really soft texture, so you can see the color right there. The one though I'm going to use today is kind of more suited for people like me with combination to oily, and especially going into summer, having a powder like this. So this is the HD powder but pressed, and it looks white and scary, but I'm going to show you. Let's see, I'm going to use the e.l.f. complexion brush. So I just picked this one up too, and this one, it's a little bit pinched, and I thought it was going to be like huge, massive. It's not big, but it is big enough. I think it's actually quite soft. I think they've come a long way in their brushes from the original back in the days when e.l.f. was $1. Do you remember that? I can still remember, you know, the brushes were a little bit scratchier back then, but they were only $1, right? I can still remember my mom sending me a box of like 10 products and from e.l.f. and she's like, it only costs $10 for all that. I was like, what? So I'm gonna actually use one of those products today. It's a new one, but it was one of the original products. All right, I am gonna take that little puff right here into my smile line. See if we can keep that from creasing too much. And same thing on my forehead lines here. And then I'm also going to work a little bit of that through my brows. This is another tip I like to do as we approach summer, because if your skin gets oily up here, it's gonna just break that eyebrow pencil down. So speaking of brows, let's just go right there and then we'll finish up the rest of the face. So I picked up a couple more of the Instant Lift brow pencils. So this was their first brow pencil that I ever tried, I think. And it was a huge hit. These used to be $2. I think they're $3 now. I picked up Blonde and Taupe. I tried Blonde yesterday. It was a little light and cool, but I like to have a mixture of brow pencils in my collection, you know, depending on how blonde I am. And then Taupe, and then I've also had the, I think it's neutral brown shade, and that I can also get to work if I go in with a light hand. So that is taupe right there. And then I also picked up one of the Ultra Precise brow pencils. I think I had one of these a while back, and I picked up taupe also in this one, and I think that's the one I'm gonna start with here. Now, both of these types of pencils, they all have a spoolie on the other end, which I think is a really nice addition. This Precision brow pencil is a couple dollars more, but you know me, at least right now, I do really enjoy being able to just kind of precisely outline my brow and then kind of do some light feather strokes here at the front. And this pencil isn't super waxy. It's not, though, too hard either. It's a pretty good in between. So you don't have to work real hard to get the color into your brow hairs. And then I'll just show you the other one. So I'm going to use the Instant Brow Lift pencil. Now this one has quite a bit larger of a tip, so it's a quicker fill-in for sure. So if you've got a lot of space to fill in, this will do it quicker. The only thing I don't like about this one is it rolls down on you as you're using it because it's so easy to roll up and roll down. So just be aware of that. But this one's cooperating. I'm using just real light pressure at the moment. So there you go. We got the back half of the brow done in no time. Let's add a little brow gel. So if you want just clear brow gel, they still have their duo. This is, and one side is for your eyes. So if you want clear mascara, and then the other side is for your brows. So I'm not gonna use this at this juncture. I'm gonna bring it in during the mascara application. I'll show you why. But if you saw my brow video, you will know I love the e.l.f. Wow Brow Gel, and I just picked up another shade. So I have taupe, which is a kind of cooler, lighter, it's not too cool. I would say this is kind of a good neutral, lighter shade. And then I had been using brunette. Where's brunette? Here it is. And brunette has a little bit of warmth to it. And so I thought, let's try neutral brown and just see what that looks like. And I actually think this might be a good one for me, especially if I want to cool off a brow pencil. So I like a brow gel, and this one has fibers in it, so it can add some extra fluff, but it can also kind of help tone your brows at the end. If your brow pencil you used is looking a little too warm or a little too cool, you can go in with a brow gel. And I mean, these are still $4, so you can't beat the price. All right, let's go back to the face now. Sometimes by adding brows, it gives you an idea of how much more color we need on the rest of our face. I think we have a ways to go. I'm going to start off with an oldie but a goodie. This is the contour palette. This is the one with 4 shades in it. This is just so good. So I'm going to start off with this darker shade right here. These are all matte shades. I feel like they all have really good pigment. And I'm going to use the Sigma F05. And this is a nice cool tone that is just perfect for contouring. I'll take a little bit of that shade on my Lorac contour brush here. Just do a little bit of nose contouring here. Now for bronzer, I'm gonna go in with one of their primer infused bronzers. This is their lighter shades. I probably could stand to go up a shade for summer, but I'll just use this one. This is Forever Sun-Kissed, and a super smooth, soft formulation. I would say matte, but it doesn't look flat matte on the skin. So I'm gonna go back to my powder brush and just use a little bit of that more on the tops of the cheeks. Just a nice formula, and it's primer infused. So I do find that this lasts for me. I get a whole day out of this. All right, looking a little more bronzy, and I do have kind of this glow, but That's a little bit of my natural oily skin coming through here. All right, now I do also have a primer infused blush. This is Always Rosy, and I do love this. I think today I want to go with this new duo. So they did the blush duos, like the bite-sized eyeshadows, kind of same size, but it's just a blush and highlighter. So I have 4 of these already and added a new one to my collection. So my new one is Watermelon. And I think I passed by this one because I thought that the highlighter shade was going to be too pinky peach on my skin. But this actually has quite a lot of brightness. So let's add that one. And I'm gonna use the small tapered brush with a little bit of that. I do like this brush for kind of powdering under the eyes, but let's use it for concealer. Oh yeah, do you see? I mean, just the tiniest little dip in there. And so these are really pigmented. They will show a little bit of texture, so you need to be aware of that, but there's no like glitter particles, I don't feel like, with any of these. So they are quite shimmery, but very pigmented and glowy. Oh, and you know what? While we have that out, let's just use that as our inner corner highlight too. You know, I like to do this. I feel like it kind of just ties the whole face together. It's very similar shade to what we have on our lid, that shimmery shade, but it has a little bit of the peach. So now I'm gonna go in with a clean precision smudge brush and just use that to further blend that inner corner highlight into those lid shades that we have. Ooh, love that work. So I'm gonna use the blush side of that Watermelon palette. And I've not used this on its own. Of course, we do have that putty blush underneath. Now by layering cream and powder products, that does help with the longevity. So as we're going into summer, if you have the time to do a cream and a powder, this is the time to do it. Or if you have a special event and you need your makeup to look great for hours, this is the way to do it. It is time for mascara, and this is the one area I'm going to be adding a non-e.l.f. product, because I feel like in order to give mascara a fair chance, I should do what I normally do, and that is to add a primer. So I am gonna use Drugstore. This is a L'Oreal Voluminous Primer. But the mascara I'm using, I just tried, I don't think I had ever tried an e.l.f. mascara before yesterday. I just tried this yesterday. It's the Lengthening and Volumizing Mascara. This is the new formula. Now, I've had this sitting in my drawer for months and months and months. So, but I just tried it yesterday, and I was shocked at how well it stayed and lasted through the day. So we're gonna hope for good things again today. So let's curl our lashes. Apply a little bit of primer, and I'm gonna use this on upper and lower lashes. And now for the mascara. Now this has an interesting brush. It is kind of short and squatty, and it is a natural bristle brush. Just noticing it has a bunch of product on it that it did not have yesterday. All right, let's go ahead and try this. All right, so that is a couple of coats. I feel like this is about the thickness and volume level you can get with this mascara, but it's a drier formula, which is what I personally prefer. But I feel like the lashes look kind of nice and fluffy. Now though, because most mascaras smudge on me, I'm gonna do a trick that one of you all told me about, and it's using the clear gel. So I'm gonna use the lash side, and I'm just gonna take this clear mascara and put this under my lashes, just right here on the ends. And I don't know if it was this trick or the mascara just being really good, but yesterday I had absolutely no flakes or smudges on my lower lash line, so this might be the ticket. All right, I just wiped off that lip balm. So now I'm gonna go back to the putty eye primer. So just like I do with the MAC Soft Ochre Paint Pot, I'm using this around the edge of my lips to help kind of even out the edge, and then also to help my lip products just stay within my lip lines better. I don't feel like this is as good as the MAC Soft Ochre Paint Pot, but it does still a decent job. Now, I just realized there is a second product that is not e.l.f. that I'm using, and that is lip liner. I just don't have any lip liners from e.l.f. and I honestly can't remember the last time I tried one. So I'm going to use the NYX lip pencil in Peekaboo Neutral. It's another great affordable option. For lip color, I picked up 2 of these new Hydrating Core Lip Shines. At least I think they're new. They're new to me. In the center of each one has a heart. Kind of looks black. And when I first got this, I was like trying to see if there was pigment there, and there's really not. So I think the core of it is where the extra hydration, and then the color is just kind of around the side. So you're not gonna get tons of color payoff. So I have 2, I have Happy, and I think that's the one I'm gonna use today, but I'll also show you this other one. And then I have Blissful. Now this one is really, really, really pale. Like just a light little hint of like a honey color, but these are really shiny. They're nice and lightweight on the lips, and you know, they're not the longest lasting because they are pretty hydrating, but I found them very comfortable. There's a slight little bit of a scent to them. Not quite sure what it is, but it's not something that I'm opposed to. So there you go. Nice little bit of shine. It does feel very balm-like on the lips. All right, now because of the shirt that I know I'm going to wear today, I'm also going to add in a little bit of this. This is one of their sheer slicks, and the shade is Grapefruit. This basically has no scent whatsoever. Now this will actually leave a stain behind on your lips. I have the black cherry color as well. I think I used that in my fall Get Ready With Me. But I'm just gonna add a little bit of this, bring a little pink to the look. And then speaking of grapefruit, the body product that I'm so glad that e.l.f. brought back is this one. This is the e.l.f. Retro Paradise Glow Up Body Oil. Most of these types of products smell like coconut, but this one smells like grapefruit, and I love that scent. Grapefruit is a very uplifting scent, energizing scent. So you can see it there. It is a very, very kind of oily, very liquidy type of formula. So when I first got this, I used it straight on my body, and I was like, oh no, I don't like this feel. I don't like it. So my favorite way that I've been using this is I just put a couple pumps in my body moisturizer and then put it on my skin, and it just adds a little bit of glow. I'm gonna add a little bit. I'm gonna use this brush. This is the Buffing Foundation brush, which I'll tell you in a moment. You've seen me use this brush before, but for a different product. All right, so, I mean, look at how much shine that adds. I mean, just on its own. So that's why I just, you know, prefer to add it into my moisturizer, but it is really pretty. So I think this comes in 2 shades, and this is the lighter one. This is called Sun Kissed. So I actually feel like it's more pearly in color. It doesn't add any tan glow to your skin. It just adds glow. There are little bits of shimmer particles, so as it dries, you'll probably see little fine glitter particles. So if you're not a fan of that, but it doesn't look like you've bedazzled your body, so you don't have to worry about looking like a disco ball. The reason why I say you've seen this brush before is because it's the one I use when I'm putting on sunless tanner on my hands, but this is the old version, and they used to call it, what they call it, the foundation blurring brush, and now it is the buffing foundation brush. So, all right, now here is our finished look. And I just love kind of that combination of the pink shimmer and that corally pink in the crease. It's a little bit toned down from my last look where I did the fiery orange colors, but the lips are nice and soft, just a nice soft neutral pink. So the combination of those 2 products, they feel very moisturized, but not like really slippery or greasy or anything. And then I just have a little bit of highlight in some strategic points, but the rest of the face looks pretty matte. So overall, I really enjoyed seeing what all of these products could do if I pulled them together in one look. Everything that I talked about and showed you today, including all the shade names of foundation and everything, will be listed and linked in the description box below. Thank you as always so much for watching. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.